within a limited period of time. So Akshay, there are three important conversations, there are three important definitions under the law that one has to remember, because this particular law goes beyond every other conventional labor laws in terms of those definitions. Okay, so one is the definition of who can complain and who can they complain against. Second definition, as you said, is of the workplace, and third definition is of sexual harassment. So first definition, let's take up the first definition quickly. Who can complain and who can they complain against? So the law defines aggrieved woman, and the law defines employee. Okay, and they have, what the law says is that an aggrieved woman who complains to the organization and who has the right to to complain to an organization's IC can be an employee of the company, or it also can be somebody who's not an employee. So basically that means that it could also be a person who's a visitor to the organization, or could be a client, or could be somebody who's interacting with the organization. So this is as broad as possible. And one of the best definitions, one of the best examples of a visitor to a workplace that I can give to the audience is, imagine that, when you're going to see a movie and you've gone to see PVR, in PVR, you are the visitor. And with respect to taking up services of PVR, then and people who are working there, they are the employees. So if you as a visitor get harassed by somebody who's working at PVR, so let's say when you're taking the popcorn, people who are working behind the kitchen counter, people who are working as guards, etc. In case a visitor gets sexually harassed by one of the employees of PVR, at that point of time, even though you are a visitor, you can complain to the ICC of PVR for against that employee. So that's how that's the entire reason behind it has been to make sure that the definition is broad enough to provide an access to complain to every woman who faces sexual harassment vis-a-vis a workplace. Now we have to look at the definition of employees. Even with respect to the employees, the definition has been expanded. So it does not mean only the regular full-time employees of a company. It also refers to trainees. It also refers to people who are working on contractual basis, people who are consultants, people who are working in terms of, people who are coming from third-party agencies. And to the extent that the law even says that it does not matter that you are getting a remuneration or not from the organization. So which means that if, let's say, all the NGOs, etc., where people are volunteering, in that case, even if they're not getting any money from there, but let's say they face harassment, sexual harassment, while they are in their voluntary capacity while working in an organization, even there they can complain to the organization on sexual harassment at workplace. Another aspect that I would just quickly want to throw light on is the fact that the law also introduces domestic workers as complainants under the law. And the fact that for a domestic worker who comes to your house to clean and cook and do all sorts of things, they are also, for them, your house is the workplace. So domestic workers can also complain for sexual harassment at workplace, but for them the complaint committee is different. For them, the law says that the district officer that I mentioned before, the district officer who's set up at the district level, they need to set up a local complaints committee whose composition is completely different as per law. So in that sense, what it does is that the local complaints committee, which is set up at the district level, domestic workers can also complain there. So that's how broad the definition of employee is. So which means that, and let's come back to